Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. So, this time, we're going to have a look at this from Renegade Press. Ditko's World, featuring Static. This is from 1986. Yeah, 1986. Renegade Press, of course, which is was an independent publisher. Did some mainstream stuff and some more underground stuff as well, or type stuff anyway. And you may wonder, who is Static? And you might, hell, these days you might wonder, who's Ditko? Okay, Steve Ditko, of course. Everyone knows something about Ditko, or at least some of what Ditko did, because he was the co-creator of the Amazing Spider-Man. He also at Charlton he co-created Captain Atom. He created the Ted Kord version of the Blue Beetle. Created the Question, and for his independent self-published stuff, he had Mr. A, which was a more extreme version of the Question. He was involved at Marvel. Of course, he did a lot of Hulk stuff back there. Probably best known today, besides from Spider-Man, for his long time work at Charlton. Of course, we already mentioned some of that stuff, but he did a whole lot of science fiction and especially horror stuff at Charlton all through the 70s, and created his other characters. He was a writer. He's not the best writer. And so, anyway, all the way through, he did Speedball, Mr. Machine, and all kinds of other stuff. So, and this is the first of 3 issues, a 3-issue miniseries. So you might wonder about Static. He's a creator-owned superhero character created and produced by Steve Ditko. First appeared in Eclipse Monthly 1 through 3 in 1983 from Eclipse Comics, and in 85 he was in Charlton Comics issues 11 and 12, which was primarily reprint and new material, and that was right at the end, the very end of Charlton's tenure. I think by then they had already sold off their superhero characters, most of their own characters. And the Renegade Press did this version of Ditko's World. And Static is the character named Stack Ray. That's R-A-E. And he is an assistant to the scientist Dr. Search. And they build a power suit that Stack uses to defend the innocent as Static. It's a real abbreviation of that. Ditko, of course, on his own material, he really infused his own philosophy and economic philosophy, which he followed, which was, I just read it, objectivism, created by Ayn Rand, and author of The Fountainhead, and Atlas Shrugged, and stuff like that. Had her own publications. Russian-born. She was born before the Russian Revolution. Emigrated to America, established herself as a writer and philosopher, and she and her philosophy was like an extreme form of libertarianism, even though she didn't like libertarianism, and has really come through and influenced the business world of business and right wing political world of today, whether it's conscious or unconscious. I don't know. And even though she railed against public assistance, she died. When she died, she was on Social Security and Medicare, which she had previously railed against. Anyway, which shows you the downfall there. Okay, and Ditko, he's not the best writer in the world, and he comes up with some really weird names. I got a whole list of these are just some of the weird names in this book. Okay, strange. Stack Ray, that's static. Dr. Ed Search. And of course, Ed must be short for education search. And his daughter is Fira, and she is afraid of everything. And not quite so weird as Bruno the Exploder, but Bruno's an odd one. Then there's the character. Keg. These are proper names. Keg, Bellin, another J. Oker, which isn't so off, but I've heard Oak and Oaks and Oakley and stuff like that. I've never heard Oker. Zach Ager, or maybe it's Ager. I'm not sure. Lou Bren, Coradine, not that far off. Bunny Boo, that's probably a stage name, but Bunny Boo. Then remember, these are proper names. Fed, Gobo, and Nepper. And these are all the weird-ass names that he's got in this one book. Okay, and it is an anthology just of his Ditko's short stories and material. Yes, no, this kind of reflects some of the stuff. Yes, no, maybe, and here, and it's, and this lead story is not all that long either. Here we see his character, and he looks not unlike Spider-Man in a way, at least in silhouette. Okay, this is Dr. Search and his lab being snatched by some goons, and there's a lot of exposition, and he would do a lot of panels per page. Some of the others have like 12, 15 panels per page. So he had a lot of stuff. His dialogue is very, very stilted, and this is actually actually better than most of his Charlton horror stuff from the 70s, as far as artwork is concerned, because I think he portrayed that. Whoa! I dropped it. He did his better artwork for his own stuff, and kind of phoned in the other stuff for the paycheck. That's my opinion. I don't know, but I'm a Ditko fan, so don't get me wrong. And here it's just all dialogue, and the static has already been established previously. But the girl, Fira, has snatched and hidden away the suit, and he wants it. Stack wants it back, and they get to the lab and find her father is gone. Then they get a phone call from the kidnappers. I don't know why they bothered. It says, don't tell anybody, don't call the police, and anything like that. And it's the general. It's all we know him as, the general. He has been injured or something. He's got this stolen this secret weapon of some kind of ray device, but it isn't working properly, and needs Dr. Search to repair it. And Search comes up with a couple of things. He needs a certain tool from his lab, and so it's to basically give a clue to Stack. But Stack keeps saying, Give me the suit. Give me the suit. It's your father's only chance. Oh, they said they promised they'd let him go. Well, that's stupid. You know he won't. But anyway, they set up a deal to get the particular tool. One of the goons goes and gets it, and Stack, as Static, follows and gets to their particular hideout, and he powers up the suit because he can do things with the suit, electrical and electrostatic and electromagnetism and stuff like that. And so he gets in, gets around, he clunks the goon who's taking the doctor away when he's fixed it, and he's going to do away with the doctor. He said, no. He said, let's go, Doc. He said, no, we've got to get that weapon. And goes back to that lab. The general and the weapon are gone. So he takes out another goon, and then using his static powers in his suit, forces information from the goon. So he knows where to go find the general. He goes there and confronts the general. He turns his zap gun on Static, and he's using his powers. He can climb the walls. See, like Spider-Man. Jump down, and they duke it out. He zaps the general's handgun, which is supposed to make him drop it from the pain. But he says, I've endured so much pain. Pain and torture, and it didn't stop me. So he's going to shoot Stack. So Stack uses the powers to zap the blaster gun, which was already being fired, causes it to swing his way, and without showing it too graphically, kind of bisects the general's body. Grabs the gun, shuts it off, takes it back to the doctor in the lab, and they destroy it. And but Fira is still she doesn't like that she gave Stack back the suit, and thinks it in the wrong hands it can be a terrible weapon, which it could be as long as Stack is good about it. So that's not too much. Some of his stuff is in the dialogue. Then we go to this other story, which is totally unrelated. Here's a page of just some of his stuff. I think this is stuff from his Ditko's teaching material. When he was teaching some cartoonists. The Exploding Room. This is more like a story that he would have done for the Charlton Horror Comics. Guy who's a bomber, and he's a terrorist, basically, hired by a syndicate criminal, and to blow people up. He was promised a bonus after the job. He didn't get it. So then he sets up a bomb. He's very superstitious. He was horrified when his path was almost crossed by a black cat, and then he's horrified again when he accidentally breaks a mirror. And then he set a bomb, calls the guy, and says, I'm going to get my revenge on Kablooey, but the bomb wasn't complete. It seriously injured, probably killed him, but he's not dead yet. The guy, his target, and he curses him and said, a dying man's curse, they're supposed to come true. Oh, he's so horrified. Runs off, and his curse was that he'd be blown up for eternity. He gets to later he's sleeping in his bed, and there he is. He gets blown up, put back together, blown up repeatedly, forever. See it. Then there's just this little 3-page thing that's for filler, Lady X. This is obviously this is by a guy named John Jacobs and John Jeff Potter, and it's obviously of fan type of material. No problem with that, and it's just some mainstream superhero parody stuff. Then Shag and the Uglies. Just another character working in a TV station, at they're rehearsing for a special for Bunny Boo, and Shag is the character. Jay Oker is his real identity at Starwide TV, and someone with this mask comes in and terrorizes her right after the rehearsal. Oker turns into Shag, fights off the guy, and saves the girl, and then Oker, without Shag, back as himself. No one saw the transformation. While everyone's comforting the girl, and he basically insults her, and she tries to slap him. It's all to show she's not a very nice person, but she's not really. But then neither is Shag, really. I mean, Oker. Anyway. Again, some of his nicer stuff. And here, look, this is 4-tier. This is, I didn't count them, but 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got to be 13 or so, 12 or 13 panels in that page. Same for this one. This right here is one of the nicest female faces I think I have ever seen. Try to bring that up. Ever seen drawn by Ditko, because he is not known for as a good girl artist. His earlier stuff they did better. Here she is wearing pants just like Clea from Doctor Strange. Anyway, it turns out it was someone working in the at the studio who had been snubbed and insulted by her some years before. He saves her, and all the other stuff's not. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's some of his better artwork for that late in his life, really, in my opinion. So that's all I had to share with you this time. Was Ditko's World Static. I've got lots of Ditko stuff. See, I'm a Ditko fan, but I'm not the kind that he can do no wrong artistically. His 60s material, Spider-Man, Captain Atom, Blue Beetle, Question, all that stuff, and Doctor Strange were, I think, vastly superior to most of the stuff he did in his later life, artistically speaking. So I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below, and and ask me any questions, and I'll see if I can give you any answer about just about anything. And remember, comics are art.